Hi, this is Phyllis Whitley, and of course, this is Whisper. I almost got stuck there. Unplug. What if I told you who you believe you are in life? You will live. You got to change your belief and you got to change your life. Let's go. Hi, everybody. I am here, and of course, I have one of my guests or team members, and her name is Patty, and she's going to come on in just a little bit. We are going to talk about today. As you know, this is self mastery. This is what this is all about for those of you who are new. Why self mastery? Because you really don't have nobody to change but yourself. I know you saying, well, Miss P, this person did it, that person did it. You don't know how I was brought up. I was brought up on the wrong side of town. My skin color is not the way it's supposed to be according to the government or politics or whatever. But you only have to change yourself. That was another podcast, but it still come out to the point where I teach you how to self-master yourself. What I mean by that is for you to get yourself together. So what? They don't like you, but you have to like you. So what? You don't feel love, but you have to love yourself. You say, isn't that selfish? Because see, even in the Bible, God said, love your neighbor as thyself. And people say, oh, you got to be so good to your neighbor. Your neighbor is not just your neighbor. Your neighbor is everybody in your circle. So now that you understand that, what I'm saying, if you hate yourself, you can't possibly love anybody else. Well, Miss P, I love myself. I mean, I love other people. I love this. Really? Is that why you always cursing somebody out? Well, okay, well, Miss P, you don't understand. They made me. They made you. Miss P, the devil is busy. Where's the red horn devil at? Is he under your bed, at the door? As long as I've been in the church and they said the devil was busy, that to me, I'm gonna say was I still don't like that because that is a holdout that comes back from generations of lack and opportunity to point outside yourself for something that is going wrong within yourself. What am I talking about today? The law of I am. I am is so powerful. God didn't say you are, they are. He said, I am the highest name. So today I'm going to give you some tidbits. I'm going to give you some gems. I'm going to give you some stuff that you probably never heard of. And of course, it's going to go down to the Bible. I go by the Bible, through the Bible, and from the Bible. And we have some things that literally we're going to discuss today. And I am going to give you some stuff. I'm going to give you a reality check on what's going on or what you believe about yourself. Okay. I have to laugh about it because I'm sometimes I'm so funny. I'm not funny, right? We're going to teach you when you finish this, listening to this episode, you're going to go back and you might go back again because you're going to know how to speak life and power into yourself. We're going to expose and shift your I am, or should I say I amness. Now I have Patty. Patty is waiting to be shown. Hi, Patty. She is from Virginia. I'm going to have different people come in. This is really my team. This is not an interview with Patty. And Patty knows me. I am one of her mentors in life as she mentors many. Patty, we're talking about the law of I am. I should have said the law of I amness. And when I say the law, the universe is running by a law. If you don't believe me, have you ever went outside and the moon was shining in the daylight and the sun wasn't? Have you ever went outside and it was snowing in the middle of August? Now it could do that now, but you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a certain reason that the sun rise and the sun set, the moon come out. You understand that the ocean don't come past your house or that's a tsunami or whatever. Do you know everything is intact? Now it is time when things go out of order, quake, tornadoes, whatever. I'm not going to get into that because that's within too. That's within too. What I'm saying is your I am shapes your life. I know that's heavy. What do you think about that? Patty, I think I got a little deep there.
Well, it's how you feel about yourself, and it does shape the way that you feel about yourself.
So when you say shape, what do you mean by that?
So the way that you think about yourself, the the way that you think about how you feel about yourself, that's exactly what you're going to present to the world when you're out.
Don't you feel that, and I have said this all the time in my consultations or group sessions, speaking of which, you gotta find my group and it's called Queen Whispers. Ladies, if you have been victimized, traumatized, and compromised, you gotta come on over there. We have some good old conversations that your mama didn't tell you nothing about. So that's coming soon. But I like the fact that Patty said shape. Because when you think about shape, it's a form. If it's a form, it's a physical thing you can touch. I would say that that's manifestation. Your I amness is a manifestation because if you think about it, Patty, I do believe that when you say, I'm not good enough because of a whisper that somebody else came and told you all your life, what do you say about that shape coming back to meet you? It's like you attract it. Where do you see that in the man? If you feel bad about yourself, what type of man you think you're going to start attracting?
Toxicity. And I think that's in everything. Friends going to be toxic. You're going to attract exactly what you feel and how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, you know what's so funny though, Patty, is that a lot of people say, I don't know how in the jackrabbit I swapped the devil for the witch. My mother used to say that.
Yeah.
Somebody told her that. And you got a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a pattern and you know what happened, ladies, you got to realize, and even men too, the same spirit but a different face. What are you saying to yourself? What are you speaking to yourself when nobody is there? I'm no good. Nobody want me.
Mm-hmm.
I know I cover that over and over and over. I'm being repetitive for a reason because remember I specialize in self mastery and whisper and the whispers coming from all relationships. See, because once you fix yourself, everything else is fixed. Again, we're talking about the law of I am. It defines your identity. What you feel about yourself, your I amness can be your identity, not your passport, not your driver's license. What if I told you, how should I say, a child is not going to be worrying about obstacles. And when they start getting painful, hurt, bullied, all at a young age, it become their identity. They may be too shy. They may be too, you could tell when young people was hurt in certain areas. That becomes your identity because it's like putting on a coat.
So
You know
yeah,
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
that's something that you carry around. When you talked about, I know a lot of times you talk about, whispers, right? You carry that stuff around with you as you get older. And it does become part of who you are because now this is what you think I am. This is what you've told yourself. Yeah,
Exactly. Your I amness can become other people's opinion. You're
right.
absolutely right. And if y'all don't understand that, you know how you talk about people. Everybody gossip one time in their life, okay? Even I did. Even I do. I'm not perfect. And it's not so much gossip, is more. I'm not talking about the housewives on TV, but you have something to say about somebody. And you know how you, like when I was in college, I always listen to the people say, "Oh, you got to go to that professor." It's like, well, why don't go to that professor? Because they had an identity. That one is an easy professor. That one is going to pass you even if you sleep in their class. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, Patty? You already have an identity. When people mention you, I mean, if they had to listen, if somebody had to say something to you, one of your besties, give me one word they would use to identify you. And you notice I said identify you.
Loyal.
You see, that's her identity. But if she really was banged up, verbally abused, she would probably say, somebody will say, oh, Patty's loyal. And she'll say, no, 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 she'll second guess it. And I have done this before. Somebody said, oh, you know what? Your earrings are beautiful. No, I mean, it's
Yeah.
all right. Until somebody said to me one day, why you have it on? Why are you wearing it? You know why? Because the self doubt comes in there. And even now at this age, I have to accept the compliment. You're not going to accept the compliment because you don't fit that. It's like you trying to give me a piece of clothing of beautiness, and I just don't feel beautiful.
Right.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Right.
So the identification is within y'all. I know y'all come and you say, I just don't get it. What she's talking about. I'm talking about within. I'm talking about the invisible. I'm talking about what is inside you. I'm talking about that voice that talks to you at night, morning, noon and tell you you will never be. It is coming from something, somebody else, person, place, or thing. Am I right, Patty? I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, it's sad, but it's true. Let's see, we have how you view yourself, and it all comes to the same way. That I am is going to deal with how you view yourself. If you view yourself as I am a fat lady, I'll never be nobody because of my skin shade. Everywhere you go, you're gonna say, well, they was prejudiced. Now, I'm not saying that they ain't got no prejudiced people out there, but everywhere you go, that people ain't not even looking at you. The person who said you wasn't going to be high is the same shade as you.
Yeah.
Oh no, they was prejudiced because inside you feel your identity is all about prejudice. Maybe that's all you experience. I told you person, place. It can be a group that did you wrong, and you're gonna always walk around and you're gonna have that view. So your I amness can be the viewpoint of what you see. It still go back to what have hurt you. Men, if men have hurt you, I counsel some men and they'll say, no longer my client, but they lived in another country, and oh my goodness, all she wanted was money. Then he went out to another country, and this person married him. But by the time I counseled him a year later, she had took everything he had. She emptied out his bank account. She
Ooh.
took his self identity. He said by the time he got to me, and he just wanted to know how am I doing and stuff like that. And I gave him a consultation at that time, and I just brought her from 0 to 10.
Mhm.
Ladies, y'all hear me? You bring your man all the way to 10. And now he was my client because he feel like nothing. He feel like a zero. And he said at that point, he said, no, 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 no more relationships for me. No more relationship for me. His identity was what the other females did to him. He felt used. You know what I'm saying, Patty?
Yeah.
And we as women feel that way too. We feel so. I think Patty, seriously, that's the reason that we are so defensive. What do you think?
Right. I think when you're defensive, and as I look back, when I could think back on relationships, I think I was more defensive because I wasn't healed. I think because now that I'm at a healed state, I know how to address problems intelligently, emotionally intelligent now on how to address them, and I can accept the criticism from the person. Now, when you're defensive, that's because you're thinking about what's in the past, what you had in the past, and you're bringing that baggage in. So now you're thinking this person is going to be just like the last person. So when I look back on my, past relationships, I associated my defensiveness because I'm thinking they're going to come in the same way the last person did. But that other person has to be emotionally intelligent too to have that conversation with you. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that takes me to what happened when you meet somebody who their I amness is lowly.
Yeah.
You might not be on one accord.
Correct.
Some of y'all think that one accord is, well, he's Catholic and I'm Catholic. He's Muslim and I'm Muslim. No, no, no. That one accord, and that can be just something that you put in there and you say you want somebody to be, if you want them to be on one accord religiously, but that accord could be a lot of things, Patty.
Correct.
And one of it is that you want that person to be on one accord with intelligence. Someone who don't have a GED and you have a master degree, you might not can relate. Or you have to really be the type of person that say, I accept you for who you are. They may have intelligence in another area where they highly respect you. So don't go cracking up when a
Right.
man got 200 plus. If he make 200 figures, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm talking about some real good money, 500,000, whatever. He might not respect you in a high level. So I think it have to be a balance. And that's
Right.
why I go back to body, mind, and spirit. It have to be a balance. I like that what you just said. Now I actually want to cover your inner conversation also shape your world. All of this is the same thing we talking about, but we going in different ways so everybody can really understand. And basically, your inner conversation, what do you say about people who is always speaking lack?
I think a person that's always speaking like That is what they've seen in their life. That's what they grew up around. People that they never seen what was beyond their environment, or they never seen what was beyond. You know how some people say you only see what's in front of you and that's all you know? It could have been, someone that told them this is what you got and this is all you're gonna have. So in their mind, this is what they thinking that they're only going to accomplish, or I can't do any better than this, and this is all I'm gonna get. So when I think about a person that I always think about that has a mind of lack, they can't see past what's in front of them. They need to change their circle of people.
Yeah, that's true, because a lot of people, I think years ago, I heard that someone said you have that slavery mentality when you don't go, you never been outside your state.
Right.
And I was shocked. I said, people don't travel? But you don't know that. I mean, people literally, if your family there and whatever, I call it plantation mentality, because you stayed on that plantation back in slavery. You couldn't go anywhere. And you just sit there and nobody, or should I say, until somebody in the family travel or go
Right.
farther. And I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about, you couldn't do that back in slavery, but you keep that slavery mentality generations later when you should be your own master. So who's stopping you from going to at least the next state? Drive to the next state. Some of y'all live in places where the border of the next state is right there.
Right.
What do you think about that? People literally don't get up and travel.
Yeah, some people don't travel. Some people are afraid. Some people are afraid to just venture out. Some people are afraid to. You ever know
That's
anybody
a
that's afraid to go on
plantation
the highway?
mentality. I'm trying to tell you, that coming from that generation.
Yeah.
They afraid of what?
Some people are afraid to even get on the highway.
And then that's a fear. And we spoke about that last time. Fear. God said, fear not. Fear has nothing to do with, listen, fear have nothing to do with a higher conscious of even God. God kept saying, fear not. Why did he keep saying fear not? Because he just wanted to say it? Or is it a possibility he knew that once you said you was in fear, you was going to attract everything that can make you fear?
Yes.
You was going to attract everything that was going to confirm to you being fearful. Because I believe when he had told the brothers, Joseph's brother, after he became the king, and they had to go back and get the father, he said, fear not. And I could say, I'm seeing this all the time. And the conclusion about that is, if they would have feared on their way down that road, they would have met obstacles that embodied themselves as fearful. I don't know if y'all got that. That's a metaphor to life. If you fear in life, that road that you're going to go down, that they had to go down to pick up the father, literally, you're going to start attracting people. Let me give you an example. You want to go out the country. Then you so fearful. That next day you go to work, somebody telling you, girl, you heard about that plane crash?
Yeah.
Then everything is just like, and you're like, yeah, but yeah, then you start, I'm gonna go. Are you gonna go? Yeah, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go. So you delay the trip. You delay it, push it up. Then that next week you start hearing, the first thing you look on Yahoo and you say, a typhoon hit the place that you're supposed to go visit. You saw, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna know. I don't know. And then you call up and a typhoon. They say, oh yeah, typhoons come through here. You fine. We all right. We didn't get hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
You still start. At this point, you shaking. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know. Then you turn around and the people you visiting, your family gonna call you up and say, we got the what is that? COVID.
Yeah.
Shoot, you all got COVID. And I'm not saying that all of this, let's look at a person who, because I know people, so Miss P, that can happen anyway. Yeah, but that fear probably made it bigger, Patty, because suppose this happened and you didn't carry that fear. When you look up in a plane crash, you say, oh God, I pray for them or whatever, but you keep on going. You don't change your reservation. Then a typhoon hit, you call, is everybody all right? You good? Okay. I'm going to look at the weather, because you might want to look at the weather, make sure nothing's coming through that next week. So I'm going to be there for 5 days. How's the weather look? The weather's fine. Okay, I'm good. Then you turn around and they call you and everybody's sick. you're going to say, oh, I hope you feeling better. Maybe you need to take this, put some more D in your body or whatever. And you're going to make sure you got your proper, body taken care of. And you're going to say, but I still see y'all. Because we ain't talking about the COVID when everybody was passing. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Even then, people was traveling. Because I know I traveled. We went to Louisiana. My team went to Louisiana at the tail end. Did we not have masses?
Yeah.
So I ain't got on the phone and told them we ain't going nowhere because so they didn't come and tell me. So we did everything in order though. We didn't walk around with our masks up, and like a lot of the young people went on the when they do spring break and breathing in everybody's face and dancing when it was
Yeah.
at its peak. We still kept our masks on, and then we went to the table at whatever. So that what I'm saying is obstacles will be obstacles. But if you go look straight ahead, them obstacles gonna walk right past you.
Yeah.
That's something that I teach. So I hope you got something from that. Also, something about when you are assuming. I know Neville always talk about assuming. This is one of the mystics teachers. You assume, we all assume things. When you assume that if a man asks you, can you cook, say, you just met a man, and you start assuming, excuse me, you're not getting in my house. You know what I'm saying? Something, I don't know if that was that deep. Is there something that you want to assume? Because you know how we assume, we might assume every man coming to use you. You know, when you've been hurt, don't you think every man coming to use you? You just start
Yeah.
assuming that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
I
sir.
know.
They're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly. That's going to be the last person. That person is so and so and so. He's probably a dog anyway.
Yeah.
Or your last boyfriend wear gold chains, and the one that you see coming have gold chains. How about the sign? I remember my mother told me that her best friend was walking. They were walking down the street. This man was trying to talk to her, and she seen his necklace, and his necklace said Scorpio. And she said, "No, thank you." Kept walking. My mother said she didn't know nothing about signs. And remember, I'm not a astrologist. Signs are under you. Nothing is over you. Okay, but one person, and that's God. But just for the sake of this story, she said, why would you walk around? You know, walk past it, a man that looks good looking, he's like you. And she said, well, I seen his necklace. And she said, I just got rid of a Scorpio. I don't want to have nothing to do. So you assume something like that.
Yeah.
And one of the things I have written down here in my notes, you manifested what you assume. I know it was seasons where I was meeting the same sign all the time. You ever been through something like that?
Yeah.
You meet the same side. You like, what I'm doing? Y'all females know what I'm talking about. You like, what am I doing? Why am I just meeting all of these sads? Mm-mm.
In the back of your mind, you think they're all the same, and then you say, "I knew this was going to happen," because you already was thinking it anyway.
So that tells you that your assumptions and your assuming manifest. If you know what you assume manifest, just like when everybody know about President Trump. When I plead the fifth. No, I didn't vote for Trump. But listen, that doesn't mean you can't stop watch this podcast. But I'm gonna tell you, whether it was a Democrat or Republican, every person out there that I knew, or just people that I didn't know, and they was talking in the street or whatever, went crazy. Those who was totally dependent on the government. They're going to do this for us. Oh, they getting ready to take. But I heard that every year when I was growing up, I heard it every 4 years. And I got older. I said, I don't give a whoop who up in there. Because this is my life. As I became an adult, they assumed. And some of them got right on TV and cried like a baby. I just didn't know. How did that come in? I think sometimes you assume that another group is so bad, and then you look up in your backyard and you the one suffer. You manifest that. So that's why you have to also be careful of what you think about other people. It's a two-edged sword. What do you think about that, Patty?
Yeah, it is a two-edged sword. I don't really get into the politics a whole lot, but yeah, when you assume, there was a saying, when you dig one hole, you got to dig another one, for yourself.
Exactly. That was a whole, and she's absolutely right. Finish your thought. Why is that, Patty?
Because you're, like you said, you're looking this way and you're busy trying to put certain people in a certain category or keep resources from a certain group of people, but then you don't know what's coming behind you over here, because the object of the game is to keep you looking over here so you won't see me coming this way. So yeah.
And you are so right. So the assumption went way past it because you can manifest it. You have to be careful what you assume a person is going to be like. I don't care if it's just people around you. You don't want to have the wrong assumption because sometimes you see it repeating and
Right.
repeating and repeating. The thing about the I am, you must let your I am shift your life into what you want to be and who you want to be. When people talk about you, they're going to talk about you anyway. It's not important. What's important is what you say about you. And this is the thing about social media. I had a hard time coming on social media because I just didn't want to hear it. But I had to come to a point where I said, hey, they do not pay my bills. They do not pay my bills. And I'm going to do what I want to do because I love me. And I'm here for a mission because God chose me to get a message out. Even if it's one thing you got out of any of my messages, whether it's through my books, through my podcast, whatever, I did my job. So don't assume, but you have the power to shift your I am. I'm going to say your I amness.
Yeah.
And you want to take that because that invisible thought is going to manifest and embody itself. Is it going to be fear? Is it going to be lack? I can give you a scripture, but guess what? I got one. I am that I am. What is this? This is Exodus 3:14. That's what it was. 3:14. God said, Moses said, what's the name? Who should I tell him to sit me? He said, I am that I am. And guess what? You are who you believe you are, which means I am. So be careful of that. And remember, even Neville said, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. It is your world, okay? The world out there, is going to be. So when you see the negative and hear the negative, that's a whole bunch of people thinking negative. But what are you going to do in your world? Remember that. What was the question? Could you repeat that?
So I wanted to know, how do you change your I amness if you just feel stuck? How do you get past that?
You're going to have to do affirmation. Affirmation, it can be scriptures. I recommend scriptures. If you Christians out there, if you're a Muslim, just keep reading a particular passage that's positive in the Quran. You have to literally go into some type of affirmation so you can feel it. That's why when people have songs, the industry know that there's certain songs, you sing that song, and someone asked me on my vacation, they was blasting on R&B songs. Oh my God. They said, do you listen to this? I said, you know what? When I'm not in a relationship, I don't get into that. They was like, please. I said, yeah, well, y'all got your man. Nobody wants to hear close the door, baby. I mean, no one that want to hear all of that. You make me feel brand new, or feel the fire. Now you can. I know I'm not telling y'all to don't listen to your R&B, but I find that when I'm listening to those R&B and they talk about "Feel Me," Stephanie Mills, and they had a
Yeah.
tribute. I'm standing up here, and you know what? Don't tell me you don't go to that person that you were dealing with when that song came out. I want to do that. Y'all can do that. And then some people say, "Oh no, I love music too," but I really stay away from that when I'm not in a serious relationship because I don't want to. It makes me feel real lonely.
Yeah.
It makes me feel so lonely. And you know what that is? The music is in your, after the song is long gone, you still saying, feel me. Because you just did a affirmation. Even the rap songs. That's why your kids are going crazy. That's why your daughter's acting like a bee because in the rap song is you a bee, you a bee, you a bee. She starts saying, I'm a bee, I'm a bee. Y'all think I'm crazy. Affirmation. So you choose what affirmation you're going to put in your head. I'm not saying don't listen to rap, but be careful what's at your door, what's at your mental door. Be careful what people say to you. If everybody around you is so negative, that's going to go in your head. Why would you go to college? You don't need to go to college. Guess
Yeah.
what? You won't go to college. Do you understand? You know what I'm coming from, Patty. That's what I actually teach. So you have to be very, very careful. I hope I answered that right for you,
Yeah,
Patty.
you did.
Yes. Is there any would you have any other question that you wanted to ask that I need to clear for the
Yes, I
people?
have one more question. And we always talk about past and your past whispers, things that people have said to you and how it affects you. So what if my past is contradicting my new I amness? How do I fix that?
Well, you got to understand that the past, and this is what I always say, I revise the past. You need to go back and revise that. And you can do that by getting a coach, a mentor. People go in counseling all the time. You should go in counseling not to sit on somebody's seat or chair, lay on their chair for 10 years and you still are going in a broken record. You need to go somewhere and get coach or go to a counselor that's going to help you revise that. And it's like I said, you can't pull new wine into an old wineskin. You can't do it. So a lot of that stuff have to be, that clutter have to be out. And that's why a lot of us are stuck. That's why we can't get that book out that been sitting there for 20 goddamn years.
Yeah.
You need to go find out. Where do you find out? Not your mother, not your sister, not your brother, not your sibling. You got to go within yourself. And once you clean out everything, then you rewrite your story. Yes.
Thank you.
You rewrite. You are so welcome. I want you to remember you are the creator of your reality. Your I amness should be not only pleasing to yourself, but it should allow others to say, I want to be her, or at least follow you as an example. A lot of people don't care. Your I amness should be your promised land, what you desire. And until next time, I want you to unplug, transform, and manifest your promised land daily. Because if loving yourself is right, you don't want to be wrong. What if the story you are sitting on is the breakthrough someone waiting for? Are you an influencer or an entrepreneur sitting on a powerful story? Hi, my name is Phyllis Whitley. Call me Coach P, the founder of Self Whisper and Whispervise. I help people like you publish their story 30 days or less. Stop leaving money on the table. Your knowledge is powerful and it could be your next paycheck. Join the Publish Your Purpose Challenge using the link below. And please subscribe now. I appreciate you.